Hello, love. Welcome to the Libran Key. My name is Elene, and this is day 6 of 7 of the winter meditations with Mama Iset, also known as Mother Isis. These are timely yet timeless meditations in the sense that we are harnessing the energies of the winter solstice, the energies that we are currently recording in at this time. We're bringing these messages through, that I'm recording these messages. Today is December 23rd. It is Monday, December 23rd. In the Celtic lunar zodiac and the Celtic Druidic tradition, today is what's referred to as the Nameless Day. And Mama Iset wants me to speak to this for this particular winter meditations message, okay? Also understand, please bear with me, because when these energies do come through, it does come through very much in the form of stream of consciousness. Yes, and sometimes things are circular and I come back round to them in how the messages are being delivered, okay? So like we said, timely yet timeless for whenever you are doing the metaphorical winter work in your life, and that could be at any time of the year. I am currently in the winter time of the year here on Mama Gaia, bringing through these messages with the energies being what they are. And her reason for wanting to do this series of winter meditations is because of the significance of connecting to Mother Earth, to the energies of the sun, to the energies of the cycles, to the energies of the moon. And despite what you might hear, I feel like it's because there's a lot out there with regard to what is the truth, planetary-wise, luminary-wise. Whether this earth is, let's just say, spherical or not. There's a lot out there. There's a lot out there. And all I'm hearing her say is, honestly, take what resonates and leave what does not from any of these messages. Understand, though, that there are certain truths that are, as we like to say, universal. There are truths that cannot be denied, is what she's saying to me. Feel into the energy and the integrity of those truths, and also understand that even if things perhaps have shifted throughout time, or perhaps because she's showing me that the energies have changed, 333 on the counter, energies have shifted, energies have changed, and historically, what was practiced perhaps is no longer practiced anymore, or it is practiced differently as it merges with the shifting frequencies here on Mama Gaia. And she's coming back to this energy of the pure of heart and purity, and connecting to the pure energies that are available to us at any given moment in time, no matter what. No matter what. Okay, so there's something significant in that and this nameless day, this being the timely part of the message, December 23rd, okay? One of the things that she brought to my attention, I'm actually going to share with you an image from this book. This is the Celtic Lunar Zodiac, written by Elene Panthyr, illustrated by Margaret Walty. The illustrations in this are absolutely stunning. I got this book years ago. 444 on the counter, as I say that. I don't even, just take a look at that. Like, beautiful images. This is the image for the elder tree. And under that is the nameless day. So essentially, the Celtics, from what we know, followed a lunar calendar, which was 28 days. And there was always one day that was outside of that 28-day cycle, okay, of the lunar cycle, I should say, to be specific. So that meant that we were looking at the energy of 13 here in terms of the actual cyclical nature of the moon, okay? Now, I don't want to get into for the sake of the brevity of this message, and this is something that you can even look into yourself. She's inviting each and every one of us to do that, where you look into the ancient calendars, the way that time and the cyclical nature of time was observed. So there's something about this Celtic lunar zodiac, very much obviously connected to cyclical time, is what she's really reiterating here. And she's showing me that the winter solstice now, 6:11 on the counter as I say that, the winter solstice now is actually, you can consider these 3 days as a reset period or a renewal period, and the nameless day as being exactly like the solstice, and I believe the Celtics observed that, where it was like the evening of the solstice was always considered around this time. That's what it feels like, where the eve of that solstice was always, or the observance of the solstice was on the evening as opposed to the morning. But it's kind of both, isn't it? Because we're looking at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day. Okay, without getting too off topic, what I'm going to do is read from the section here that speaks to the nameless day. There is a separate mention for this date with regard to interpretation of character, because remember, we're dealing with an astrological system here that also is connected to when you're born and the day you're born and what tree you are born under or with, right? So here they're speaking to the character and how that obviously lends an archetype to whatever time you were born, right? And what sign that falls under. There's a separate mention for this date with regard to interpretation of character, because this day is in the Druidic calendar, falls outside of the 13-month year and is therefore not ruled by any trees. It has been associated with the mythology of the yew tree and the sacred mistletoe, which are very, again, sacred symbols in the Druidic tradition, okay? Now here's where it gets interesting. In Roman mythology, this day was sacred to Larunda, an extremely obscure Roman goddess said to be of Sabine origin. She was honored on December 23rd at an altar in Vilabrium, and the ancients equated her with Lara, the mother of Laris, or household gods. Offerings were made to her on this day for the departed spirits of slaves, and the priests officially designated the day for ancestor worship. But generally speaking, very little is recorded about this day in world myths, and it remains one of the mysteries of the Druidic religion. And what I'm getting here as well, because I did also look up, there's some significance here. Obviously, we're dealing with a lunar calendar here, but there's definitely some significance here with regard to the moon as well. I'm feeling like, because they do make a reference to twin energies, I won't go into that too much, but that seems like it's significant, because I'm being shown the High Priestess card in the tarot as key 2, and key 2 as a Roman numeral looking like the sign of Gemini, which is connected to the twins. And they're also showing me, again, it's a portal. There's a portal energy here, okay? Bringing in the energy of Selenite here, because what I'm really feeling with this is the energy of renewal, of cleansing and renewal. Now, what's also interesting is that when you look up this particular goddess, her myth, her following, how, for example, she was celebrated. There is a reference here to a festival that takes place in February, and also an informal, secretive women's folk cult at the same festival invoking Tacita, who's referred to as the silent goddess. She's interchanged with this particular goddess. And it goes on to say here that the rite of this particular festival is led by, quote unquote, an old hag who holds 7 black beans in her mouth. It has similarities to the exorcism of hostile vagrant spirits at the Lemuria festival. Isn't that interesting? That word, that name, never even knew that it was connected in any way to Roman times, or that they would speak of it like that, Lemuria, but is completed when a fish head, Lemuria being connected to water, is sewn up to bind hostile tongues to silence. Okay, and then it says Lara Larunda is also sometimes associated with Acalarentia, whose feast day was the Larentalia on December 23rd. Okay, 2:34 on the clock. Something about this. Now, she's just wanting me to share this information. And I hear her saying, connecting the dots in silence, in deep, resonant contemplation is what she's saying. In deep, resonant contemplation. There's not much more that she wants me to say about this, except for some kind of significance in meditating upon this information, in meditating upon this nameless day, in meditating essentially upon the sun standing still and what that means for each and every one of us. The silent one, she keeps on emphasizing that with 1212 on the counter. She keeps on mentioning that with the energy of Larunda. Now, etymologically, apparently this name comes from, and I just saw 1221 as well. Those are the codes that she's been giving. It's almost like she has some kind of connection to this energy in some way. Oh man, I'm hearing since the beginning of time, where time ends and begins. The cyclical nature of time. There's something in this energy that is activating and unlocking. And if you feel called to this, because I realize not everybody coming across this particular message might be called to this, and that this might be for some very specific souls, because it's so specific, right? Even after this, I'm being called to look into this particular mythology much more deeply. 1313 on the counter as I say that, and to really read between the lines. Okay, because sometimes the way that we are presented information, just like what I read to you right now, is actually quite two-dimensional. Let's start reading between the lines, especially when it comes to myth and to references to gods and especially goddesses, is what she's saying, and understanding them from the new vantage point of the energetic fabric that we are currently in and what that represents to us. And that's where I'm going to leave it. I wanted to add here, before I got off again on this tangent, that what I read was Larunda. It's interesting because there's connections here to the name Laura or Lara, but also there, what I read was Lala, because she was connected to the water and the river, something to do with the river as a goddess. Again, I was just being guided to share the components of what I was reading to you. Look into that more deeply if it's significant to you or if it's resonating for you. There's something here about the primordial element of water and the prima materia of water and the world being birthed from water, and that being very connected to the void and the energies of the feminine, the womb. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. And I'm going to repeat what she said to me earlier here in closing. Connect the dots in silence, in deep, resonant contemplation. This is not a contemplation of overthinking or logic. This is a deep contemplation of meditation. 1515 on the counter as I say that. Yeah, there's a real interesting energy here that is, again, in that 1515, she's speaking directly to the energies of Capricorn that are associated with the Devil card in the tarot. What does that reduce to? A 6. The energy of bringing these energies back into harmony and balance, okay? Yeah, because I'm hearing deficit. Oh my goodness, okay. So she's saying a deficit of light at this time. That can have so many meanings. So many meanings. But essentially what she's really truly bringing through for that is this deep contemplation at this particular moment in time being very, very significant. And the significance of really truly harnessing that throughout these winter months. Please take these winter meditations at any time throughout, especially this winter season. And maybe even something to do until the month of February, because that date came through as well for one of the festivals being on the 21st of February. Perhaps that is significant as well. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you, Mama Iset. I thank you. We thank you for bringing your energy, sharing your time, your energy with us into this space. And I'm sending you so much love wherever you are, in love and liberation, always.